Welcome to the latest 2's review, Atlanta United 2 weekend review. 2 matches to review this time around. Jason Longshore to set everything up. John Nelson and Jarrett Smith will join in just a bit. 6-point week for Atlanta United 2. A win in Memphis followed up by a win at home over North Carolina FC. Let's kick things off with the highlights from Atlanta United 2's win in Memphis last Wednesday.
Underway, USL Championship game of the week from Memphis, Tennessee. It's 901 FC taking on ATL UTD2. Birch. Header saved away from the line at the post. Najim continues on. It was Collier that looked like he got his head to it. Metcalf kept it out. Recycled ball is knocked aside. Castagnera better watch out. Chance now, and Castagnera's there again. Collier denied. Forward to Fernando, who's toiled the last 3 years for the Richmond Kickers. Fernando getting forward and putting it on his left. Will he have a go? And knocked aside Caldwell. Did enough to keep that out. Castro working with Barajas, swings out wide, cross looking for Fernando, bounces across, lifted up by Metcalf, bouncing down, Kisadu, trying to pull that through, now a shot for Atlanta is in, Barajas, ATL UTD2 out in front, just short of halftime, and a fingertip not enough for Caldwell.
Of talent, it's just poor decision after poor clearance by the boys in blue. The ball drops on the doorstep of Barajas. Caldwell left out to dry.
Pressure building from Atlanta to get possession back. Sharpie sidestepped Vint. Hackworth. Blue shirts entering the area. Header steered wide of the post. Sharpie knew he had a good look at that. A good, clean look. Corner Memphis. Header snapped down. What a save, Castagnera. Whoa, what a denial. Finish their chances as much as anything. They want to be more patient. The final third, and take the chances they get. Memphis into the final third again. Early ball. Castagnera, no. Follow. Oh, he missed it. Dolly off the outside post. Turned over. Samuel. Saw the pass opening up there. Ball cheekily lobbed, and Fernando couldn't put it home. That's a good clearance by Grandison. Statistically, Memphis dominated the night. Kunga, no. Conway, no. Is that it? It is. Atlanta goes on the road to Memphis. Silences 7,000.
Your highlights of Atlanta United 2's win in Memphis last week. No post-match audio from Stephen Glass, but just a few of the quotes from him about the win. He was really impressed with the team's performance. He said, "We weathered the storm a little bit early on. We didn't start great, but then we came into the game and started playing, started getting our foot on it, and we looked like a really good group." He was really impressed with the way that they dealt with the adversity on the road. And, this is something that all young teams have to deal with, is learning how to finish out matches in tough situations. Stephen Glass said, "I think even the environment that we played in, the crowd was a little hostile. The field wasn't fantastic. I think being able to see a game out by throwing their bodies in the way of things and the resilience and the work rate to keep going right until the end, it would have been very easy to lose one early on and then maybe lose another one, and then you end up with nothing from the magnificent effort that the lads put in." That's a big step from 2018 to 2019 for Atlanta United 2. That's part of the development that you have to see with a second team in the USL Championship. The young players have to learn how to win these types of games. They were not the better team. Memphis had more chances, had more of the ball in the second half, had 60% of the possession. But Atlanta United 2 was able to get the job done. And when asked on what the young players learn from a game like this, Stephen Glass said, I think they will take a belief that they can go anywhere and win. Memphis are a good team, and they have good players. They are well coached, and they have great support. For our young players to know that they have come out of a place like this and come away with all 3 points and a clean sheet, despite being under a decent bit of pressure, it bodes well for their future. It was very good for their future as you go into Saturday's match. Atlanta United 2 hosting North Carolina FC. I was not there. I was with the first team in New England, so I didn't get a chance to see this one firsthand. John Nelson, Jarrett Smith were on the call, and here's the highlights from Fifth Third Bank Stadium last Saturday.
We are now underway from Fifth Third Bank Stadium. Once again, thanks for accessing us, however you are doing so. Campbell, Carlton, and off and running, it's John Gallagher. Down here near side, looking with the left. Well done, headed out, but not all the way out. Looks like another chance for North Carolina FC. Middle of the box, a lot of traffic. Nicely done by Brendan Moore to keep it out of the net. Stephen Miller, the last to touch. Again, with a lot of room down the channel.
Nice move.
Sends it in with the right. Headed and poked over the crossbar once again, Brendan Moore. Conway, Comcia, winning that joust. In the middle, shot left, in! It wasn't there. Wild, 1-0.
And Tambakis looks like he actually gets a touch that with the boot. He kind of got caught in no man's land coming out for the ball.
And Wild with it, heads it down, gives to AC. Andrew Carlton a lot of space. What is he going to do with it? He's going to leave it. Nicely done. Give and go right on Tambakis. Saved, rebound, and over the bar.
Looks at this one. Fantastic work from Carlton. Lays it off. Conway with a beautiful touch. Great job from Tambakis to push it down Carlton.
1-0 Atlanta United 2. Comcia sends it forward, right cleat, into the middle, Loomis, and into the back of the net. We're tied at 1.
Fantastic finish from Loomis. Mario Loomis just poaches out right there at the penalty spot, does a great job, collects it very calmly, puts it into the net.
Take a peek. Into the middle, Loomis settles it down, chips it. Brendan Moore went down, ball went up and over. Well kept, slipped, but maintains possession. DJ Taylor there. Carlton with the right, looking and punched and deflected in. But the flag is up.
As you take a look here, Carlton, a really nice delivery into the box. But goes right off of his arm that stuck up in the air. I appreciate his willingness to try and play it off, but a good call by the officials. His remains tied at 1.
Jackson Conway, you see it with the fist in the air. Luis Fernando involved. Jackson Conway has his chance! Or 2-1, Atlanta United 2.
Well, it's great work there to force the turnover. We talked about it earlier. That is how Memphis.
Last chance to dance, North Carolina FC. Lawrence Wyke is there. Brendan Moore will clear with the left.
That's it.
And that's it.
Questions for Coach Glass?
Back-to-back wins for your team. How important was it to take the momentum from Memphis carrying on to tonight?
I think that was part of the challenge tonight. We played in front of a really big crowd in Memphis, on the road, young team. We got a lot of praise. But it's how you respond to both getting really plaudits and also sometimes you get criticism. So I think for a group, the young group, to bounce back from the win, really take it on again with an unbelievably positive performance from start to finish. Was nice for us to see the response and see what they've got in them, that they want to continually perform at a high level.
But of course, Jackson with his first goal, that has to really buoy him toward the rest of the season.
Yeah, he's been great. He does a lot of work for the team. Sometimes doesn't get as many opportunities as he might like, and he's playing against experienced defenders. But he's starting to learn. He's done great in the academy. He's playing against experienced guys now a little bit more often. He's starting to learn how to use his body a little bit more. He's getting a lot more knocks, a lot more hits. But he's taking them, he doesn't go hiding, and he finds the composure to finish off probably a pretty difficult finish. He got himself in 2-3 spots tonight where he could have had chances, but he didn't stop. That's a top striker. He keeps getting in the box, keeps getting in positions to score goals, and he got the reward in the end.
Can you talk about the team's progression from Charlotte, where they kind of didn't close out the match, to the last couple of matches where they've done a fantastic job of closing it out?
Yeah, it's all part of the learning, I think. I think you've sometimes got to feel it to make it better. So the group, myself included, could have done a little bit better in Charlotte, could have seen a game out. It's kind of not what we do, try to see a game out. We play a certain style, but I think it's important that they know how to see a game out, and there's a way of doing it. We didn't launch it in the corner. We're not trying to hold it in the corner. You're not going to see us doing that. We still try to score goals at the end. Might be slightly crazy at times, but I think it's positive with these young guys trying to score goals, try to be positive, get energy in their legs, so that if the first team come calling, they'll be as well prepared as they can be.
You've had veterans like Pogba and Khan as well in that defensive line. Early part of the season, those guys weren't available. You had young guys, teenagers in your defensive line. Do you think it contributed to that first half and allowing so many of those scoring opportunities, you think, just that youth back there?
No. I think what contributed to the scoring opportunities was we were playing against a very good team. We've played against a very good team the last 3 games. The second half against St. Louis, we were really good. Up in Memphis, we were really good. Tonight, we were really good. But we're playing against top teams. We've played against the 3 of the top teams in the league this week, back-to-back, while they're not playing back-to-back. So a difficult 3 nights, and we come out with 6 points and a fantastic second half of performance against St. Louis. So I think the youth, I wouldn't say contributed to the chances that they had. I think the youth contributed to the 2 victories and the fantastic performance against St. Louis.
And discuss more as well, just how important were the saves, keep you within striking distance to eventually take the lead later on in the contest, those big saves in the first half?
We've got an experienced goalkeeper. We had Dylan the other night, did really well. Obviously Brandon plays tonight, did really well. But that's his job, that's what he's good at, that's why he's a first team goalkeeper. Like all the players we got contributed to the victory hugely tonight, and I'm almost wary of saying how well the goalkeeper done, because it sounds like we were under it for a bit of time. But they had opportunities, but I think we had plenty of opportunities as well. So I'd prefer to focus on the positives and how well this young group done. As young a team as we've put out again. So it's not something we're deliberately doing. As a club, we'll play young players when they're ready. We're not going to say we play academy players and don't. 3 academy players started today. And we're not hiding them on the side. We're not putting them left wing, right wing out the way where they won't affect it. With a centre back, with a centre midfield, and with a centre forward. So it's the production lines there right through the academy, right through us, and hopefully we see some of these lads playing in the first team.
Can you tell us what happened to Gordon? That he came out at halftime? Was it planned, or was it something else? Did he get a ding?
What was the last word?
Gordon, did he get a knock?
Oh, get a ding. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, you said it quick. He was fatigued, but I think he had a little bit of virus going on during the week. So for his protection, we take him out. He did great for the group in the first half. Worked hard. Got his goal, took it really well. But I think for his well-being, it was better for him to come off. I'm sure he probably wanted to stay on, but we had a player like Luis to come in and affect the game the way that he did, and that's the other thing. The substitutes come on, did fantastically well as well. Laurent come on, and for Jackson's goal, you see the work rate of those boys and how we press as a club, and the success that got us tonight.
You have a week off. How much will that help you in a free weekend? How much will it help you get your guys just some extra practice time and some rest during that tough period that you've just gotten through?
I think the important thing first is that they enjoy the night tonight. They've worked so hard for the last 7-8 days, and probably a little bit more leading into it. So they'll get a rest for a couple of days, then we'll start building into training. I think we take Saturday off when the first team are playing, and then we go again preparing for Tampa, starting to see what bodies we've got potentially for Tampa. It's at home. I don't know how they got on tonight, but I know they're a really good team, and I know they're up there in the division. So it doesn't stop for us. We play against top teams all the time where it's their first team. So it's a challenge that we're up for, we're ready for, and we're looking forward to it.
Questions for Brennan?
As a keeper, how important is it for you to perform the way you did, especially with your 6-8 performance?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what we're back there to do, and obviously if you can do that, it's always good. And, coming up with those 6 saves, it helps the team stay in the game, but it also, it gives us confidence to go forward. And then, we ended up conceding one, but we knew we weren't going to concede two after that first one. I felt that way at least. So I think the whole team did.
How do you kind of mentor the younger players on defense, like Will, like some of the young guys in the back?
Yeah, well, I mean, they are younger, but they're good players and they know what they're doing. But obviously, do need some instruction at the time. It just comes down to communication, just being specific, precise, and detailed in the right moments. And you don't have to say too much. They understand what you want them to do and when you want them to do it, and it's just a matter of communication in the right moment.
Anything else for Brendan?
Yeah. How do you personally stay sharp? We've had Alex gotten some time.
Yeah.
Dylan as well.
Yeah.
So we've seen 3 goalkeepers already so far this season. How do you stay sharp and just focus when your time is called to get out there?
Well, I mean, this is what we look forward to doing. We look forward to playing in games, and we train every day to stay sharp, and we use these games in order to, also improve. But also, it's where we get our fun. It's where we get our, reward playing in those games. So. I don't think it takes much in order to stay sharp because I'm excited to play. I want to be out there playing. And but, in order to do that, we train every day pretty much, and we work every day to be able to step into those games. And if we haven't played in a month, whether, a week, a month, we're still ready to go.
Questions for Jackson Conway?
It's like you were kind of knocking on the door, but finally broke it down tonight. Can you take us through that goal?
Yeah, I mean, like every young professional, it's always good to get your first goal. But, I mean, I just had to stay composed, and just make sure I put it away because, like you said, a bunch of the chances I had in the first half, I just had to put one in the goal. So, help the team out, and, came out with a win, so everything's good.
You mentioned being a young professional. What lessons do you take game in and game out, especially on the training ground?
Yeah, I mean, definitely taking the step from academy to the pro level is definitely a big step. So, I mean, kind of always staying confident, not thinking you're like lower than anybody else. That's definitely a big step. It's not just on the field; it's off the field as well. What you eat and stuff, and what you're doing to take care of your body. It's always good things to bring in. Glassy's been good because being a professional soccer player himself, he's always giving me tips, giving the young guys tips like me, Will, and George. They're always it's always good for us. So.
2 wins over a 3-day period. What does that show about the team and improvements just from the start of the season?
Yeah, no, I mean, with very little training, I mean, we came back, recovered, and got right back at it. I mean, that shows like a little bit of character from us. So, I mean, just to be able to do that, it's even if we are tired, we'll just stick at it. And, like you said, come out with a win. It's most important. So, yeah.
Hey, Jason?
You start such a young group. I mean, if you look at a lot of teenagers, guys under 20 years old.
Yep.
What's that like just been for the team and like yourself included, just having all these young guys making professional steps here together?
Oh yeah, it's definitely good because I mean, me and the guys, we're all really close friends. So, I mean, just to see us, progress together, it's always good, and I mean, it's a pretty bright future for the club as well. Seeing all these young guys come through, and it's a really good feeling. I think for Glassy and the whole staff. For them to produce us, it's definitely a good step in the club's future. So, I'm really happy with what we've done, and hopefully more things to come in the future as well. So,
and now you get a week off, you get an open weekend. How would that feel for the team, and what will you guys just continue to work on with this extra practice time?
Yeah, I mean, I think what we need to do for the next couple of days is definitely kind of relax. Put our feet up, at least for a little bit, a couple of days, because we've been pretty tired because of traveling and all that, but. Yeah, once we get back to the training ground, it's back to business. I mean, we've got Tampa coming up. We were a pretty tasty side. So yeah, I mean, we just keep our head down, keep doing what we're doing. We should be all right because, I mean, we got a good squad, so everything should be pretty good.
That was Jackson Conway after Atlanta United 2 defeated North Carolina FC 2-1 last Saturday night. Jarrett Smith was on the call. How'd you enjoy being on the call, first off?
Fun stuff, man. You being in New England was nice because it gave me a fun game to call. Because if y'all haven't gotten out there to watch a 2's game yet, you need to do so. because I understand that the record last year wasn't great, and it's not the first team, it's not the bench, it's not packed. It's good. It's good play. And I got to recommend it to anybody who hasn't been able to get out there yet. Fifth Third Bank is a smaller stadium, as a lot of going to U.S. Open Cup matches, and the environment's pretty intimate. It's pretty fun, and they gave us a good one to call, taking on a veteran team in North Carolina, getting the job done.
Yeah, it's a fun team to watch. It was a fun team to watch last year, but the results are definitely better this year, and I think some of that's down to just a lot of young guys who got experience last season and got that taste, and now they know what it takes to win games at this level. And I thought this week was really interesting because they showed different ways to win. You look at the Memphis game last week, and it was a game where you didn't have a ton of the ball. You had to fight and grind, and you did, and you found a way to get a result. Kevin Barajas gets a goal right before halftime, and second half, you're under siege a little bit. And Dylan Castanera gets the job done in goal and makes a number of saves, and you come out of there with 3 points on the road, and then you follow it up. And that's what's impressive. It's one thing to go on the road, you get 3 points. Okay, cool. You come home, and you're the better team against North Carolina FC, a very veteran-laden team, and you outplayed them. That's impressive.
It's incredibly impressive because there was no guarantee that was going to be the case. You didn't know what your team was going to look like in the middle of the week, I don't think. It just depended on what the first team took with them up to New England. And you did the job. Everyone looked good. You closed things out. And see, I was curious how this game was going to go because North Carolina looked like a team against Memphis that was happy to have the ball, but they weren't necessarily productive with it for parts of that Memphis game. So something had to give in this game. You had two teams that they were comfortable possessing the ball. It was a matter of who was going to do what with the ball. And I think Atlanta United, too, won out in that battle. And more importantly, they did what Memphis did to North Carolina to put them in a tight spot is they took advantage of North Carolina's mistakes. North Carolina's a good team, but they had a penchant in the last two games for just back-breaking mistakes in the back.
Yeah, it's interesting to see North Carolina after a good start kind of, have some of this happen. This is a quality side, and it just hasn't been consistent. It hasn't been consistent enough for Atlanta United or for North Carolina in some of these matches, and Atlanta took full advantage. Let's get into how Atlanta took advantage against North Carolina FC. Opening goal. Great ball from Andrew Carlton over the top, and Gordon Wild, who we've seen mostly play in the back, plays up top in this one and gets the goal. Great finish from Wild.
What I loved about Carlton was he struggled to get really into the flow of the game last weekend when St. Louis came to town. It took him a little while. He even said as much and said he kind of had to find the space in between the lines. He did that, got involved very early, and then plays a beautiful ball over to Wild. And, talking with somebody from the Charleston Battery last year at a game when Charleston came to Atlanta, I believe Wild scored at least a goal in that game, if not two. I asked them about, how is it? Because we haven't been able to see him much because he went, by the time we got out to training, he'd already been sent on a loan to Charleston. And I asked one of their people about him that she said, look, there's things he's got to work on. He's young. He's got stuff to improve. That left foot ain't a problem, though. That left foot's not one of those things, nor is the confidence. Said he's willing to pull the trigger from anywhere, and all you hope for with him up top like that is just an opportunity where he's got it on his left foot and a chance to put it past the keeper. He got that, and he didn't miss it. And it was very impressive to watch. I don't want to call him a poacher necessarily, but it felt like, hey, we're gonna put him there, try and get him this opportunity. He took advantage of it, did a great job with it. North Carolina got caught a little bit out of shape, and Man United, too, took advantage very nicely against Alex Tambakis, who had a good game.
And we'll see what's next for Gordon Wild. We'll see how much he plays up top. We'll see how much he plays in the back. This is a big year for him to see kind of what his future is going to be here in Atlanta, but takes full advantage of the opportunity up top, gets the opening goal. Atlanta concedes, and then they find a winner in the second half, and it's Jackson Conway, who Conway had two very different games. He didn't see a ton of the ball. Against Memphis, he had to fight. He had to battle, especially in the second half. We saw him nearly get into it with Mark Birch. after Conway showed a little bit of an edge to his game. You don't see a lot of 17-year-olds with that. Then,
I like it.
Yeah, I do too. And then he gets the game winner on Saturday night against North Carolina. What'd you think of Conway overall last week?
It's just, I mean, is it cliche to say he's gritty? He's kind of a grinder, that kind of guy, because he can mix it up. He's not that kind of finesse forward where he's going to outrun people and be super cute. He's talented with the ball at his feet, but he's not going to get cute with tricks and to create space. He's just going to work. And the thing that comes to mind for me, and I don't mean to make the direct comparison, but it's kind of that Chris Wondolowski feel to me, where it's like, oh, he's just going to keep working and working and working, and that work's going to put him in the right place at the right time. And that's what happened tonight. Is you have pressure from Laurent Kessiedou and Fernando, excuse me, and the ball gets deflected, falls Kessiedou, plays it forward. And Conway, who stays involved in the play, is chasing things around constantly, finds himself in a perfect situation because he just never stopped moving. There was never this moment where you watched him and thought, yeah, he's taking a second now to catch his breath. He just never stopped, and it pays off. And I think it will keep paying off for him. We've seen him have some really good games where he just hasn't been able to put the ball in the back of the net. I think that'll come more and more as he sees more time on the field.
It's cool to see him add those elements to his game. You know, we saw him in Atlanta United's academy back in the day, and you know he was a technical player, skill player. You know, he's growing into his frame, which he's a pretty big guy, and he's learning how to throw that weight around, and that's something he's going to have as he continues to move up the ranks. What'd you think of the back line as a whole? Wesley Dacus makes the USL Championship Team of the Week. He obviously stood out getting both starts, but George Campbell had a start. Lawrence White had a start last week. What'd you think of the back line as a group?
That back line is filthy, dangerous, and it's young, and I love the way they had to close out two games. There were two different kinds of closeouts in Memphis, and then when you got North Carolina coming home, it's two different situations, really, but Dacus deserved to be on that team of the weekend and some. Just incredibly impressed with the young guy who's on loan. I mean, if this keeps up, there's a trigger to buy on that loan deal, y'all. I don't know what the number is, but I'd be looking hard at that number, depending on how he continues to progress. George Campbell gets the start the other night. And George Campbell is looking more and more like what I thought we were getting out of Miles Robinson at the end of his season in 2018, where he's being asked to be the guy, shepherd this line, be the leader on this back line, and tell people what to do. He was more and more looking like that guy, very calm back there. Will Vent dropping back in that Jeff Larenowitz style that fans know well, where the defensive midfielder kind of drops in when the wings get forward. Did a great job. Just distributes the ball really well, made one or two mistakes, but never sulked, and they were able to clean up any mistakes that were made. And I'm just immensely impressed with the young line, who it had been disappointing if they'd have made a bunch of mistakes at the end of the game, but just thrilled and very impressed that they did not make those mistakes.
Yeah, let's get into Vent for a minute. You know, this is an academy player who's getting starts now for this team. Played a lot of minutes. He's a guy who's very comfortable in possession. We knew that coming in. We knew about his range of passing that was quality. It's the fact that he was part of both of these matches where you did have to grind out a result and fight for it at the end. I think he's got a lot more in his game to show us, but good start to his Atlanta United 2 career so far.
Yeah, he's just – Will Vent is a guy who I wasn't sure what we were going to get out of him, honestly. Like, it was kind of – I was kind of curious what he was going to be, you know, how he's going to fit into this team, and he's just kind of found his place now. And I'm very impressed by what we've seen from him. Wyke as well, getting in at the end of that game, kind of being. I think at one point, if I'm not mistaken, Wyke was going to come on in that game Saturday, right when the goal was scored. I think they were getting ready to make that change, and you get that 2-1 lead, and I think Glass just decided, you know, let's ride this. Let's see what we can do here, because we're going to get opportunities, and they did get opportunities. Eventually, they pull both forwards and they get, you know, defensive. You still got creative players up top, but you don't have that lethal finisher. And when Wyke got on the field late in the game, it just seemed like, okay, shop shut down. We're done here. And I thought Vent was very instrumental in all of that and helping create that kind of comfort at the back when you're playing a North Carolina team where that game was back and forth at times. It would get stretched and it would get open, and Vent would have to drop back and be very involved in what was done going forward. And I still had questions about what he's going to be, but I'm happy with what we're seeing. I don't know how anyone can be.
Yeah, you're getting 2 academy players in Campbell and Vent who are contributing in big ways. You're getting players who are on MLS contracts like Gordon Wild, like Andrew Carlton, who are contributing in big ways. And you're getting the guys who are on USL deals, or part of the USL team on loan, like a Wesley Dacus, like Guillermo Benitez. Jack Metcalf, we know what he brings to the table. I mean, you can't take it for granted what Captain Jack brings, but big part of these wins. What do you think, the future's holding for this team? You're 3 points out of the top spot in the Eastern Conference. It's a battle between 6 teams that are all separated by 3 points. Is this a team that, we're expecting to see in the postseason in the USL Championship this year?
I mean, what is it, 10 teams get in? Yeah.
Yes.
Give me 9 teams that they can't beat on any given day.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen them play St. Louis, and I thought they did very well against St. Louis. Had a couple goals go against them that there were question marks about. Big question marks about.
It was a dive. And then St. Louis got a little bit of karma come their way against Birmingham.
And that they did. But that's your top team in the East. We're going to see Tampa Bay next, and we'll get a better sense of how they match up against the Rowdies. But yeah, I think this is a team that, even with all of the squad rotation that you're going to see with Atlanta United too this year, this is a team that can be competing for postseason soccer. And as we've talked about when it comes to the New York Red Bulls too, and their ability to compete for championships, and Swope Park Rangers with Kansas City as well, they do the same. That helps those players when they do move up to MLS playing time deal with pressure so much better, and it'd be a great opportunity for Atlanta United too and the players in this group to get those lessons in 2019.
I don't know who's going to do what, honestly. I'm excited to see, do some of these guys make that jump. We always seen Dion Pereira make the bench. We were wondering Saturday night. He was with you up in New England.
Yeah, he came with us.
Yeah. I'm excited to see where some of these kids show up. If they show up with the first team, there's going to be opportunities there for sure, especially the way Frank de Boer rotates.
Yeah, and I think that's what we're seeing so far with Frank de Boer. I think that's what we're seeing with Stephen Glass as well, and even down to the academy who's out in the Generation Adidas Cup right now. There will be opportunities. When players are ready for the next step, they're going to get a taste of that next step. And none of the managers involved with Atlanta United are afraid of giving players that taste of what's next. And if they show that they're ready, they'll continue getting those opportunities. You're seeing Campbell and Vent be vital parts of this USL Championship roster this season. You're going to see more things like that as we go. It's been a really fun year so far, and we're honestly just getting started. Tampa Bay Rowdies come to town Wednesday, April 24th. Tampa Bay right now is 1 point out of the top spot in the East. They don't play this weekend. Atlanta United 2 doesn't play this weekend. It's going to be a fun one at Fifth Third Bank. It's a Wednesday night in between 2 first-team games at home, so it wouldn't be a surprise to see players who don't get time Saturday night against FC Dallas for Atlanta United to get some time on Wednesday. But they're going to have to show that they can do better than a Jackson Conway and a Will Vent and a George Campbell and a Wesley Dacus to get that opportunity. It's going to be fun. Next Wednesday, Tampa Bay come into town.
And it's a bit of a – I'll tell you what it is. It's also a bit of a wild card for teams that have to play this team because they don't know what to prepare for right now. They don't know if it's going to be guys coming down from the first team. You read the notes from some of these other teams, and the pregame notes are like, we don't know. It could be Franco Escobar coming down. It could be Eric Rometti just getting a run out. It could be anything. It could be a bunch of 17-year-olds. You don't know what to expect, and it's just they don't really know what's going to come their way.
That's the talent that the club's producing, and I think the year under their belt in USL Championship, it's all really starting to pay off right now. We'll be back after Tampa Bay. We'll go ahead.
Shout out to, the first year, Scott Donnelly, did a lot of work last year, and the results really didn't show it in the standings, but he putting a lot of elbow grease, I think, into that team. And you're really seeing that come to fruition now with Glass in charge of this team. But I think it would be unwise to disregard what he and that staff did last year. And it was a tough first year to kind of figure out, where they think they wanted to stand and how they wanted to get guys going and be good and still develop players for the first team and still compete.
Yeah, completely agree. I don't think you're doing this year if you don't have that year under your belt. It's just so hard to know what the level's like for the players, for the staff, for everybody. You have to go through it. We saw Atlanta United on the first team level make the playoffs in year 1, win a title in year 2. Last year, Atlanta United 2 didn't make the playoffs, so they did finish pretty well. Are they going to be a playoff team in 2019? We've got some time to figure that out. We'll be back with a new 2's review right after the Tampa Bay match on the 24th. The games are about to start coming fast and furious for Atlanta United 2, and we'll be here to wrap them up for you afterwards. Thanks for listening.